Today's financial market update, the most important market insights you need to know. Market sentiment is bullish strong. Market is performing well across major indices. Index performance, S&P 500 at +0.92%, Dow Jones at 2.48%, NASDAQ at +2.11%, Russell 2000 at 3.59%. RVSNW experienced an impressive surge of 153.33%, driven by strong investor confidence and strategic new partnerships. The surge in RVSNW suggests that investors are seeking growth in specific sectors, highlighting a shift towards companies with strong fundamentals. Investors should consider reallocating funds to beaten-down software stocks, as they may provide significant upside potential in the upcoming market recovery. Since 2019, the income needed for a median-priced home has risen by nearly $50,000 due to higher prices and mortgage rates. The significant increase in housing costs signals persistent inflation, which may lead the Federal Reserve to maintain or adjust interest rates. Consider diversifying into sectors that typically perform well during inflationary periods, such as utilities and consumer staples, which are less sensitive to economic fluctuations. DaVita Inc. DVA shares declined 5.6% despite reporting strong Q4 results, indicating potential profit-taking by investors. The mixed earnings results suggest a cautious sentiment among investors, with some stocks under pressure despite solid fundamentals. Look for potential buying opportunities in companies with strong fundamentals like Tapestry Inc. (TPR), which may attract investor interest amid mixed results. Consumer confidence is declining as households grapple with rising costs and a fragile labor market impacting spending behaviors. A decline in consumer confidence typically signals potential reductions in spending, which can lead to slower economic growth and lower corporate earnings. Consider diversifying your portfolio by exploring defensive sectors, such as utilities and consumer staples, which tend to perform well during economic downturns. The effective federal funds rate recently decreased from 4.33% to 3.64%, indicating a shift in monetary policy. A decline in the federal funds rate typically signals a more accommodative policy, aiming to stimulate economic growth and consumer confidence. Consider reallocating some of your portfolio into equities, particularly sectors that thrive in lower interest rate environments, such as technology and consumer discretionary. The January jobs report is imminent, with significant attention from investors and economists alike. A weaker labor market reflected in the jobs report could indicate slower economic growth, prompting investors to reassess risk. Consider increasing allocations to U.S. government bonds, as they may benefit from a flight to safety amid market uncertainty. U.S. GoldMining's Whistler project in Alaska is estimated to contain over 10 million ounces of gold equivalent. The significant gold equivalent found in the Whistler project indicates potential for substantial future profits, attracting increased investor attention. Consider monitoring U.S. GoldMining's project updates closely, as they may present lucrative entry points for long-term investments. Bitcoin prices have fallen below $70,000, marking the lowest point since November 2024. The drop in Bitcoin indicates weakened market confidence in cryptocurrencies, which may lead to increased volatility ahead. Consider reallocating a portion of your portfolio into U.S. government debt to capitalize on the flight to safety trend. RTX Corp has secured a $1 billion deal with the Department of Defense to enhance missile production capabilities. The substantial contract for RTX indicates a strong government commitment to defense spending, which may lead to increased stock value for defense firms. Consider increasing positions in defense stocks like RTX, as military spending is likely to rise amid ongoing geopolitical tensions. Venture Global VG received an outperform rating from Raymond James with a price target set at $11. The strong rating for Venture Global indicates investor confidence in its growth potential amid rising LNG demand, despite recent price adjustments. Investors may consider adding Venture Global to their portfolios, given its positive outlook and alignment with the LNG growth trend. XPeng is set to launch a new line of robots, intensifying competition in the EV and tech sectors. XPeng's entry into robotics signals a strategic shift, potentially reshaping industry dynamics and affecting investor sentiment in tech and EV sectors. Consider diversifying investments into XPeng or similar companies to capitalize on growth in the robotics and EV market. Increased demand for U.S. government debt has led to a notable rise in bond prices, reflecting investor preference for safety. A rise in demand for government bonds suggests that investors are seeking safety amidst economic uncertainty, highlighting a risk-averse market sentiment. Consider increasing allocations to short-term U.S. Treasury securities to capitalize on their safety during uncertain economic times. U.S. Bancorp reported earnings that exceeded forecasts, achieving a new 52-week stock price high of $6. The strong earnings from U.S. Bancorp suggest robust operational health, potentially boosting investor confidence in the broader banking sector. Consider increasing exposure to U.S. Bancorp shares, as its strong earnings performance may continue to drive positive momentum. The income required to purchase a median-priced home has surged by $50,000 since 2019, highlighting affordability issues. This significant increase in required income indicates a persistent gap between wage growth and housing affordability, signaling potential market instability. Consider targeting suburban areas with historic properties that show signs of increased buyer interest, as these may offer higher appreciation potential. The SEC has charged Archer Daniels Midland ADM with $40 million in accounting fraud related to misleading financial disclosures. This regulatory action signals heightened scrutiny of corporate financial practices, which could lead to increased volatility for ADM's stock and investor sentiment. Investors should closely monitor ADM's stock performance in light of these charges, considering potential short-term volatility as an opportunity for strategic entry or exit. The private equity market is currently facing heightened volatility reminiscent of previous financial crises, impacting investor confidence. The increased volatility suggests that investors should be cautious, as market dynamics can lead to unpredictable investment outcomes. Consider allocating a portion of your portfolio to software companies that demonstrate strong fundamentals and growth potential amid market uncertainty. XPeng announced its entry into the robotics market, intensifying direct competition with Tesla for market share in EVs. XPeng's move into robotics signals a potential shift in the EV market, suggesting increased innovation and competition that could affect pricing and market strategies. Consider investing in XPeng, as it diversifies its offerings, which could yield high returns if it captures market share from established players like Tesla. Bitcoin holders currently control 68% of the total supply, indicating a concentration of ownership amidst market sell-offs. The high percentage of Bitcoin supply held by existing holders suggests reduced liquidity, potentially exacerbating price declines during sell-offs. Consider diversifying your portfolio to include stable assets, as the crypto market's volatility may pose risks to capital preservation. Quanta Services boasts a record backlog of $39.2 billion, driven by increasing demand from major tech firms like Microsoft and Amazon. The substantial backlog indicates robust market demand, signaling to investors that Quanta Services is poised for sustained revenue growth in green energy. Consider investing in Quanta Services, PWR, for exposure to the growing renewable energy sector, leveraging its strong market position. Thank you for watching. FERP, your financial Sherpa.